this week's vid, I have a very exciting video for you guys. I have my first collab slash sponsored video. And I'm very excited about it because I get to work with a brand that I have loved for years. And that brand is Buffalo Exchange, which you probably already knew that from the title of this video, so I didn't need the dramatic build up for it, but that's okay. If you don't know what Buffalo Exchange is, it's a resale store that buys, sells, and trades secondhand and recycled fashion. Now, I love Buffalo Exchange due to the fact that they literally have something for everyone. They have designer pieces, everyday staples, vintage, current trends, shoes, accessories, and a whole lot more. It's also really great for any fashion lovers that like to stay on trend but don't want to shop at fast fashion places. Bada bing, bada boom, you're saving the planet. All right, I'll stop now. But it's great because you're supporting recycled, reusable, sustainable fashion. So for this video, I went on a little thrift trip to a Buffalo Exchange near me. I went to the Santa Monica one, which is personally one of my favorites, and then I also really like the Fullerton one. Not only can you buy great and amazing fashionable pieces for your wardrobe, but you can also sell and trade your pieces in your wardrobe that you no longer wear and you want to get rid of. When you sell, you get 30% of the selling price in cash, or you can get 50% in trade. I recently cleaned out my closet and I just have been hoarding a whole bunch of clothes, so I think I brought in about 5 to 6 bags of clothes to sell. I personally always have a great experience selling items at Buffalo Exchange, and I had a really sweet buyer that helped me out. Her name is Celine. We had a really great conversation. She was super sweet, so I was able to shop and trade my items essentially, and I also was able to get some cash back as well, so it was really nice. So now we're gonna move on to some footage of me shopping at Buffalo Exchange, so here it is. So now we're going to move on to the items that I found at Buffalo Exchange. The first item I have are just these athletic vintage looking shorts. They're not real vintage, but I just love the style of these kind of shorts. And I actually have a red pair and a plain black pair, but I just really liked how this pair has this rainbow design on them. The next item I have is something I normally wouldn't purchase, but I just really loved the color of it, and I loved the little ruffles on it. It's just this off the shoulder little ribbed long sleeve sweater top. Next item I was very excited about finding because I actually was looking at this shirt online and I wanted to purchase it, but I didn't. It's just this Camp Collection Don't Mess with Mother t-shirt, but I'm still pretty excited that I found it at Buffalo Exchange. And that's another great thing, is if you love a brand but they have their pieces made in China or not ethically, you can always find them at Buffalo Exchange, which is really great. Or if there's brands that are pretty pricey as well, you can always find them at Buffalo Exchange, because I believe these shirts are around $50 to $60, I think. And I got this one for $16. So the last item that I have that isn't vintage is just this overall skirt dress from BDG, or Urban Outfitters. I just really liked how it's not a typical overall dress. Kind of reminds me of something from the 70s. So now we're gonna move on to my vintage items, and what I think is great about Buffalo Exchange, they have a lot of vintage pieces as well. So if you're a lover of vintage, you can shop there, and I feel like their prices are a lot more reasonable than a vintage store or even online shopping for vintage like Etsy or something like that. So the first vintage t-shirt that I have is just this really cute one. It says recreation is my therapy and has these cute little doggos on it. One is skateboarding, one is playing some b-ball, he's playing soccer, and then the last little guy, he's playing some baseball. And this shirt I believe was $10. The next shirt that I found that's vintage is my personal favorite. It's just this Star Wars May the Force Be With You from 1977, and on the back it says Force Electronics, that is. And this is an actual electronics store that's still open today. And I just like the fact that this design is from the original Star Wars. And that shirt was the cheapest of the vintage t-shirts, and that one was $9.50. And then the next shirt I got was just this shirt that says Trooper OTC on it. And I think this is like a state trooper kind of shirt. It has this little bear on it that looks like Smokey Bear. And this shirt was $13.50. And then the last vintage t-shirt that I have is a really cool one. It's just this shirt that says Jeepers Jamboree, Georgetown, California. And it has these little people riding their Jeeps on the earth. This shirt was the most expensive vintage t-shirt, which was $16. And the last two vintage items that I found at Buffalo Exchange was just this 80s Western looking top, or it could be 90s. And I love the style. It kind of looks like you're wearing this faux Western vest on it, and it has these like concho details. Last vintage clothing that I have is one of my absolute favorites. Vintage cheerleading top that says Panthers. And the previous owner, her name was Susie. Thank you, Susie, for your vest. I just love anything that has a monogrammed name that is not mine. And this sweater vest was $16, which is pretty good. So now we're gonna move on to accessories. I just got a pair of shoes. They look like bowling shoes, and that's the main reason why I got them. I've always wanted a pair of bowling shoes, like actual bowling shoes. I know these kind of look like bowling shoes, but I still want a pair of bowling shoes. Don't ask me why. I've wanted a pair since middle school. Last item I have is just this vintage purse. When I first saw it at the store, I didn't think it was vintage until I took it off the shelf and I realized it was vintage, and I was like, you're coming home with me. It's just super cute. It's like a granny style purse, and it has a little bit of spice because the handle is like this clear lucite looking handle. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this vid. I was super excited about it. The nice thing about Buffalo Exchange is when you're shopping there, you are also supporting local nonprofits as well. Each time you buy something, they give you a token instead of a bag, and the program they have for it is Token for Bags. And with the token, you can select what nonprofit you want to donate to, and they give 5 cents for each coin to that nonprofit. And it's just really great that they do that because they save up a lot of money and then they donate all the money to those nonprofits. So it's also a great thing that they have implemented at their stores. So I want to say thank you to Buffalo Exchange for working with me. It was an absolute honor, and I'll see you guys later. Bye! Okay, I'll stop. So now we're gonna move on to, there's a hair in my eye.